Hello! If you're new here, I'm Daniella.
I'm Jalen.
And we live in our self-converted school bus full-time with our 3 cats. Today we're going to talk about our first 3 months of being nomads and what it's been like, some tips and tricks that we found along the way, our favorite memories. So before we get into all that, we're going to give you a little bit of background about our life and how we got here. We were living in Asheville for the past 2 years. I was there for 2 years.
I was for about 4.
Okay.
I think I've been in Nashville since 2018.
Okay, and I was there I think since 2020-ish. So, based out of Asheville, we decided to buy a school bus to renovate in May of 2022.
As big as they come.
Yeah, 36-footer. Well, they come a little bigger, but she's a 36-footer.
She doesn't need it anymore.
No, we've got plenty of room. We got the bus in May of 2022. We spent about 7 months building it out. We took off the month of August to go to Colombia, South America. And then
Which we had planned prior to even owning the bus.
Right.
We knew we wanted a bus, but we also knew we wanted to take this trip, and we had already planned this trip to Colombia.
It's good. It gave us a nice break.
Yeah.
I think we needed it because it's a lot of work to be building out your bus, working full time, all of it.
Daniella, at the time, when we were living in Asheville, we had a 3-bed, 2-bath that we were renting in West Asheville, and we had a lot of stuff. We had acquired a lot of stuff, and then we acquired a lot of roommates who also had a lot of stuff, and we spent a few months actively trying to sell everything that we own. As we were progressing with the build, we knew we wanted to start thinking about making the transition over into actually staying in the bus.
Yes.
Which we did end up starting to stay in it while we were building out in November.
When we officially moved in was Thanksgiving.
First stop along the road was Skoolie Palooza.
Yes.
We knew that going into this life in general that there's a lot of time you'll probably find yourself alone, so we wanted to start our journey with all of the people who do this year in and year out. So Skoolie Palooza is this huge event. Heroes in Ehrenberg, which
Arizona.
is middle of nowhere, Arizona in the desert. It's a week long of people literally just sharing music and art and their trade and their craft.
There was
Pretty much anything.
We have a video all about our time at Skoolie Palooza too that we will link up here.
There.
There.
It's reversed, so I think it's on this side.
We'll find out. That being said, we did push our takeoff date multiple times. We thought crazily. We were we're gonna be ready by the summer.
We only need 6 months.
We need less than 6 months. We
Yeah.
got it in May. We really thought we'd be done by the end of the summer because we did not want to spend another winter in North Carolina. We made it to the end of January, which is pretty good, and it couldn't have worked out better than to take off on a trip where you're surrounded by such a community.
We met people there that we still talk to
Yeah.
today, which is incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to next year take our friends Joel and Mia, who also have a school bus that they're building out right now in Asheville.
They're in the working stages.
And we're going to meet them back in Asheville and take that trip again with them
Yeah,
out
we'll
to
hear
Skoolie
of it.
Palooza for their first trip out. So super stoked. Definitely stick around for that video a year from now.
Right. I think that brings me to my first tip, which is, or not necessarily tip, it's just something that I have learned through this whole experience, and that is you're never really ready for something to happen or to do something. Yes, I don't think we could have taken off earlier than we did, but we set this date, we had already pushed it back. We literally finished our plumbing, running our water system the day of leaving.
Yeah, it's an hour before.
Yeah, an hour before we left.
Yeah, we didn't have propane set up yet for the stove.
No, we didn't.
Hadn't set up our compost toilet.
No.
We literally didn't
We had
have floors.
we had all this stuff for it. We had the propane, we had the regulator, we had the composting DIY kit.
And we just got on the road.
We just got on the road,
Yeah.
and it was the best decision. I can see how easy it is to spend 2+ years building out and not experiencing it yet because we're
Right.
still building.
Yeah.
We are redoing things all the time. Like there's always something that comes up. It's never going to be finished. So waiting for that idea of it being finished would have maybe been waiting a lifetime, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, even like waiting for the right time to buy a bus, like the right time was when we found the right bus.
Yeah.
It just, that was the time.
Get on the road when you can.
Yeah.
You know, I
It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah. I had quit my job working at Guitar Center, and Daniella took care of us for the first 3 months while we were on the road. Super thankful for that. But that's one of the things, like we wouldn't have got on the road if I would have waited around to get a remote job, because I just got my remote job 2 weeks ago, and I had been looking well before we actually got on the road, well before, I mean, as soon as we started building out the bus, I started looking. So it took forever for me to actually find a remote job coming out of COVID, and everyone's going back to work while I'm trying to find a job out of work. So yeah, getting on the road when you can, and not with the expectation of like, this is how it should look.
Taking it how it's presented, if you're able to do that. I feel very grateful that we were able to sustain life on a single salary and get out there and start doing things. And we knew when we took off that it was going to be a 3 to 4 month trip. Like we knew we were going out to Arizona.
Right.
We booked it out there 3 days straight because
across the country.
Because at that point, like we didn't want to miss Skoolie Palooza. We were still figuring out like our water and whatnot. We wanted to take our time coming back, but that we were coming back because there were things that we wanted to finish. So
our year of actually owning the bus was coming up soon, so we had to make sure that we were gonna get it registered, inspected, which honestly ended up being a super easy process.
Yeah,
that
which
we're very blessed for.
I think we're gonna make a whole nother video for you about like how to register your school bus, how to find insurance.
Freak out in the middle of Arizona.
Yeah, we'll do a whole like insurance registering video and our experience with it. Hopefully that can be helpful.
Yeah,
to
or just
someone
inspires
who's going
you.
through it.
Yeah, to be like, okay, we can do this.
Yeah.
We can get this thing inspected.
Yeah. Part of never being fully ready is there's a million ways to do things, and there's a million ways to research them, and it's good. You have to do the research, and also at some point you just have to pick one of them and start going with it. And if it's not working, you can scrap it and start another way. But there are so many ways to get things done, and it's up to you how you want to do it.
Sometimes you just have to build it. Like, it doesn't have to actually make sense. Like, how many times we paced around the bus while we were building to like think we were gonna make something great, and it never happened because we didn't do anything with our hands. We did it all with our brains.
The demo was easy. I think Jalen was mainly working during the demo. Full demo, less than a month, probably like 3 weeks.
Busting it.
Because you're just ripping shit out. And then once you have to make decisions on like where things are going and how to do things, like the standstills were endless. Just coming to the bus, pacing for hours, going back home without doing a single thing, and being more confused.
Yeah.
Yeah. No two buses look alike, and I think that is also so cool. They all have their personality, and it's so fun to like walk in and just like see the little things that make each one unique.
Yeah, the roof races, the roof decks, the tables on the outside.
The decor. What people prioritize.
Like, I prioritize music.
Yeah.
And so I have a whole studio.
Yeah.
And I had to rip it out and start over because it didn't make sense for the space. But now it's even better, and it makes me feel good knowing if we don't like something, if we do have a couple days, we can usually rip it out and start over.
Yeah. Once you've done it once, you know you can do it again, and you'll probably do it better the second time.
Yeah.
So it's not as intimidating, basically.
Yeah, I kind of want to do like a brief overhaul of those months and then go in and do details. So it started in Asheville, North Carolina. We drove 3 days to Ehrenberg, Arizona, where we ended up spending about a month total in Arizona, kind of doing a horseshoe up and around Flagstaff, Sedona, and then coming back down. Did a couple cities in New Mexico, and then spent about a month in Texas as well, starting at like Dallas, Plano, and then dropping straight down, hitting all of the major cities, and then we hit all of the major beaches on the way back up. We did some Louisiana stuff. Really, we went to a plantation, and we went to New Orleans for a couple days, and then within another day or so, we were back in Asheville. So the whole 3 months was really those states: Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Louisiana, and back to Asheville.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good overview. We go into, like, we have videos from each of those places, and they're all on our YouTube.
Yes.
So we won't go super in depth into what every place was like and our experience there. We vlogged it, and you should check them out because they're pretty fun, and you'll get to know a little bit more about us through them. That being said,
favorite spots.
Okay, that being said, favorite spots.
Yeah. Go ahead, you start.
Me. Okay. I loved Skoolie Palooza because we got to be around people. And it was just
many people.
a
600
great
buses.
introduction to this lifestyle, to see the community behind it, see how many other people are doing it. That was just like it felt very welcoming.
Yeah. But there's literally thousands of people who literally year in and year out live nomadically here in the United States. Pretty mind blowing. Had no idea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. More than just like a place, I think one of my favorite experiences on it was the geographical change between going from Ehrenberg to Lake Havasu and then up through into Flagstaff, because you're at sea level and within a few hours of driving you're now at 7,000 feet above sea level, and it opens up with tons of evergreens, and in the winter you get the contrast of the red rocks with the evergreens and then the snow. So it's just deep greens, pure whites, and then this really, really vibrant red. And so it was just incredibly just vibrant, something I'd never seen before, especially in those contrasts. So that was really, really cool, and probably that drive on our belt is probably why we ended up breaking down outside of Sedona.
The drive from Flagstaff to Sedona was absolutely stunning. Nobody told us how beautiful is it the Coconino forest that we drove through was? I think it's that. But it was stunning. We went downhill the whole way, but it very steep. I'm sure you're on your brakes a lot. Gorgeous with the snow melting.
Yeah.
As we were going down further, and it was getting warmer too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And Sedona is not a friendly town to nomadic livers at all. So
in terms of places to stay, the police were very, very nice.
They were nice, but they were ready to get us out of there.
Well, that's their job.
So when we got the bus, the belt was on wrong, and so we just swapped the belt around. Instead of buying a new belt and putting the new belt on right, we just put the old belt on in the right direction. So it had probably already been worn down for, there's no telling how long.
I mean, the drive itself from Ohio to North Carolina that we did, just us, was 8 hours.
Yeah,
bringing the
with
bus
the
back
belt
home.
on wrong.
Yeah, so that at least is enough. I feel
so it was inevitable, but we had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. And so after those long treks up to Flagstaff and back down,
all the way across we went
across the country on it.
Yeah.
It was inevitable. It was going to snap. And I'm very thankful for that situation, because it really, the things that the domino effect of us breaking down was one of the most cool experiences. Literally to be in the middle of nowhere, Camp Verde, Arizona, working for a brewery, seeing a friend a good friend of ours that used to be Daniella's roommate in Asheville, made no sense at all. I got to work in a studio
oh my God, I forgot
while
about
we
that.
were there.
Yeah, music
and
studio.
work in a brewery.
And record an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was really cool.
It was absurd what happened, all because of this breakdown in the middle of nowhere, you guys. So.
And we learned a lot about our bus. She loves fluids.
She's a thirsty girl.
Unrelated to the belt, but you need to have transmission fluid on hand, coolant, oil. She loves her fluids.
Yeah.
We got a sick spoiler or exhaust tip.
Oh yeah, in Phoenix. Yep. So the exhaust pipe actually started to fall off because it was so old. It was cracking through with rust. So while we were in Phoenix, we literally had them saw it off, and we got a short tailpipe now that. But we got a cool tip too. Yeah. So it looks cool.
What?
Iridescent. And it's funny because people notice it too. They're like, "Oh, cool bus. Oh shit, look at that."
Yeah.
Pimped out. Oh man. I think that everyone kind of talks about the breakdown as like one of the things that will happen eventually anyways, and I'm just very thankful that our first breakdown was so
successful.
It was successful. It really was. It was a Friday night. The mechanic we actually got towed to, we had no idea if he was even going to be able to help us or get a new belt on our vehicle at all.
Yeah, it was like midnight, so he didn't answer.
And they weren't going to open back up till Monday.
There.
So we stayed there literally
Monday, I
in
think,
the
was
parking
a
lot.
holiday, so they didn't open until Tuesday actually. Yeah.
So weird.
I think like with that transitions really well into just something else about this life is needing to be flexible and like being able to go with the flow. Not everything works out the way you planned, and I think things went really well the way that we had planned our trip. Like we had end destinations in mind, you know, Skoolie, Arizona, and then eventually like back to Asheville. So we had a direction, but the timeline was flexible. So we weren't like pressing strict deadlines to get to the next city, so we could work with those types of things.
Right.
And also, not just for breakdowns, but like when you meet people and they recommend things, you can go and experience those that you wouldn't have known otherwise. And that's how we've done most of our traveling so far, is by word of mouth. Someone says, "This is a great beach, you should check it out."
Hole.
Or,
we literally stayed
awesome.
on the Colorado River right after Skoolie
Our first boondocking experience.
And we're right on the water.
Amazing.
Taking cold plunges. You can also watch that video here.
Or here.
Yes, and we got to see like a wildlife refuge because of the person that we met staying there, and she was a photographer, and so she helped us kind of with camera settings for like shooting wildlife while we were at the wildlife refuge, and it's just all those experiences.
Just all the random things.
Yeah, the podcasting wouldn't have never happened if I didn't meet those people at Skoolie. It really kicked it off.
It's just, it's funny how the world works.
One of the coolest experiences about doing something like this is the fact that people want to see it. I mean, it wasn't even finished, and people were so excited to take a step inside. You know, you're at a gas station, and people are like, "What's going on there?
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty cool. You want to check it out?"
Yeah. And that's been fun for us. Like.
Yeah. It's like your pride. It's like your workmanship. You know, you get to show whoever wants to see it, you know, how you did it. And I hope that it inspires not everyone to be nomadic or to like buy a bus and like do the extreme.
It's not the right lifestyle for everyone.
But I think that there's something beautiful about saying fuck it, do what you want, and like remember that you love things. You know, like work is work and play is play, and like you have to enjoy. So like if you've got that weekend to yourself, like remind yourself, I can do something with this. You know, like even if you have a few days, like pack up your car, make it look cute inside, and just go enjoy the beach or whatever. You know, like you don't have to stay at a fancy hotel. You don't have to eat the way we do, stuffing ourselves all the time with great food.
We love food.
Learn that we're not like hikers on this trip. Like, yes, we would hike if someone invited us.
We're not anti-hikers. We're just not we don't plan the hike.
Right. So like, that's like, we're foodies. We like to enjoy food wherever we go, and we love to cook in our buses.
There was something I wanted to say, but I don't remember now.
It's not in your book.
No, it was related to what we were talking about like 5 seconds ago. We had...
Get it out!
We had never... So before doing this, we had never actually seen a bus before. We've never been in like a tiny home, a converted bus. I'd never been inside something like this, so to take it on, we just like had full faith that we were going to love it. And we do.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
That's what I have to say, I guess.
One of the weirdest little towns that I really connected with on the road was Bisbee.
Oh, I forgot about Bisbee.
Super tiny little town.
Weird.
But it was like buildings stuffed inside of rock faces all the way up, and it was like an old mining town or something right outside of it, and so you could just feel the energy that was still left over from this like probably what was once a huge bustling city in the middle of nowhere, you know, in the desert. So thought that was one of my favorite spots that we visited. We're going to put this video out now before the other videos. We have some videos coming out soon of our stay in Asheville, our stay in, hopefully, New York. We'll see if we can put something together.
Hopefully we have not been recording while we've been here.
It's been rough. We've had a lot of random stuff hit us through this path right here, so.
But maybe we'll make another talking video about it.
It's true.
Yeah.
Maybe. Still have some build videos that we want to put out. We literally did our floors in the parking lot of a Cracker Barrel.
Our shower we finished recently when we were in Asheville. We've got a lot of content on that. I'd love to make a full video.
Yeah, so stick around. Join the Green Base Bus.
Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe.
Make a stop sound. High fives, ready?